Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me and watch this video. For today's project, we will use sticky notes. I like these from Dollar Tree because they have so many different colors and you can match them with different paper design. We will use, and I should probably give you dimensions of this. So those sticky pads, there's a total of 5 of them in one pack. Each one of them is 3 by 3 and they are a little bit less than a 1/4 inch, a little bit more than 1/8. That's the thickness. We will use legal pads. This is the 3-pack from Dollar Tree. I think you can also get them in Walmart. The width is 5 inches by 8 and the thickness of all 3 of them is 3/8 of an inch. So we will use these. Now for this project I will use all 3 of them, but I will be making also similar project using only one of these. And then I will recalculate all of the dimensions for you. Here is weekly planner from Dollar Tree. I think these are really nice. And this is for 2025. And I will use this paper collection, which is available right now at MaKala's. I think it has such a beautiful papers on the inside. So when you look at individual papers, you might like the design, but you don't truly know what to do with this. Many of you mentioned that I'm doing pretty nice coordination with the paper to match everything up and make it flow. So this is the paper collection, which I think we can do so much with this. And my next projects are gonna be using this collection. So for this project, I'm choosing to use actually this paper. I think it's gonna look beautiful. And we will use chipboard. This one is really not that thick. I don't think we need anything thicker than this. So this would be equivalent to your Cheerio box. So if that's what you have, that's what you can use. So we will need 2 pieces, 5 3/4 by 8.5. We will use 2 pieces, 1 by 8.5. I have one, I'm gonna have to cut another one. And 1 piece, 2 by 8.5. I will also use cardstock, black cardstock, 12 by 12, and we will pre-cut this to size. So we will cut each piece to 10.5. And we will glue it this way. So 10.5 inch side will go together with the other one. So the length of it is 12 inches. So now I'm using my cutting board, the pad, just to align this, to make sure that I'm gluing this straight. And let me put this aside for now. So now we will position the chipboard. The chipboard, 5 3/4, 1 inch, 5 3/4, 1 inch, and 2 by 8.5, and we will glue it just like that. So on the top, on the bottom, and on the side, you should have a space about 1 inch for wrapping. And we are leaving space approximately 1/8 of an inch in between the chipboard. It seems that my glue is a little bit heavy. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have too much paper right here. So we will cut this off. And I left about 1 inch on this side. So now we will score all around, just so it's easier for us to fold the paper or the cardstock. Okay. I will run the spatula all around the edges, so we got this beautiful finish. Okay, and now we will miter the corners. Small angle, leaving a little bit of that cardstock right at the edge, right here, just to make sure we get really nice wrap of these corners. And now we will glue it. Okay, make sure that all sides adhere really well. And now I'm gonna run the spatula right on those edges, right here in between the spine, just to create little crease and to make sure that that cardstock is nicely stretched, so it's easy for us to close it. I do have some magnets which I will attempt to use on this project, and I will use 4 of them. Now recently I didn't have much luck with with the magnets, but I got different ones and I'm hoping that these are better than the last ones I had. And these measure approximately 3/8 of an inch, or this is about 10 millimeters, and the thickness is about 1 millimeter. I will give you information in the description. So to apply the magnets, I will use double-sided tape, and I like to use it at this point because I'm afraid if I won't put them on, I will forget later on. So we don't want to put them too close to the edge because we're going to have to cover this with the paper. So I'm leaving approximately 3/4 of an inch space in between the magnet and the edge of the note, the cover. Okay. And I will apply it right away on the other side. And actually, I think it's going to be easier this way, just to mark where they should go. So when you close it, make sure that your cover is aligned nice and straight when you close it. Now we got our marks. So the side where we have the glue on the top, it seems like a good magnet. We're gonna put it right on the top of the glue in here. And I will just reinforce with the tape just so they stay put. Just like that. Okay, so now we need to cover this space right here, and I will use the leftover cardstock I had, which I will cut it down to 8 inches by 2.5, and we need 2 pieces. So now we're gonna try to glue them on the middle with the spacing here where the joints are. And let's make sure that this is all stuck. And I will run the spatula just like that to identify where this should be actually folding. Just like that. And the other side. Okay. So now when you try to close it, and it seems like the magnets are holding really nicely. So pay attention to make sure that everything is glued nicely in here and nothing is sticking out. If it does, just put a little bit more glue right in between, just so this is all covered. So now we're gonna cut the cardstock to decorate this. Okay, so for the front, I'm choosing to use this paper, and I want all those ornaments to be right on the top. So I'm going to pre-cut this way, and I will cut this down to 8¼ by 5½, and I will need 2 pieces. And now we got 1 piece left, which we will use for the spine. And actually, I'm not going to use this one for the spine, the leftover. Let's trim it also to 8½. And now we need approximately 3/4 of an inch to cover the spine, and we need 2 pieces. So since we have the board out, I will also pre-cut the paper for the inside, which is also 8½ by 5½. And I'm sorry, this should be 8¼ by 5½. One more piece, 5½. And now for the spine, I am gonna make something a little bit different. So right now I'm not gonna cut anything for the spine. So we're gonna glue this. The border all around will be approximately 1/8 of an inch. Now I do have this left, and as I'm working this, I see that I will use the blue, and I'm gonna cut this down to a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch for the spine. Now this paper we need to cut down to 8¼ We need another 3/4 of an inch for another spine. And now we will need 2 inches for the flap or the closure. Right here. Okay, now we can remove the backing. And we will apply this. Now, When we glue this, we must be careful because of those magnets. So you want to make sure that this paper is glued all around without breaking the paper all around the magnets. Now, it's very helpful that this paper has a design on it because the magnets are not that visible. So for this portion, you need to work a little bit around those magnets. You want to make sure everything adheres. All right, so the inside cover is done. I still get this nice click, which is good. That's a good sign. So now we're gonna decorate on the outside. When decorating outside, I like to run my spatula to identify where the spine is. I think it's just easier for me to see where to apply the paper. So now in my situation, I want this paper to be certain way, so I need to pay attention where my front is and where the top is, because I want those ornaments to be hanging down, which means I need to apply this just like that. So now let's remove the backing. Okay. Now again, by the magnets, where the magnets are, I'm trying to run very carefully around it. I don't want to break this paper, but I do want those magnets to be trapped. Just like that. As you can see, my glue is just, I don't know, it's clogging up. It shouldn't, but it is. So now we will glue the spine. Looks like I cut this 8.5. Okay. Okay. Here's our cover. I'm not decorating this yet. I'm gonna decorate this the last. And everything is glued nicely. Okay. So now we will work on the inside of this cover. And we will also work on this weekly planner. So the weekly planner, I have another sheet left of the paper that I used on the front, and I want to wrap this planner just like that in that paper. So the planner measures approximately 6.5. It is not quite 1/4 of an inch, and the width is 3 7/8. So I will just trim this paper a little bit so it's easier for me to work with. So that was 6 1/2. I'm gonna trim it to 7 inches. And we will just wrap this just like that. We will glue it to the front of it. To the front of it, wrap it around, and to the back. So now I'm aligning this top corner as best as I can, all the way to the bottom. Just like that, we wrap it around. Now I'm gonna squish it from this side, just so this all adheres. And now we're gonna glue the back. Just like that. So now I will just trim the paper against the cover, and I will do the same thing in here. Okay, and here is our planner. So now this paper pack also came with some catapults. So I will use one of them. And you really can use whatever you want. I think that this Christmas tree is just pretty. So I will use that, but this measures 4 inches and our weekly planner is a little bit less than 4, so we need to cut this down. So I will cut down 1/2 inch on one side and 1/2 inch on the other. And I will just glue this right here. Now, if you want, you can put some type of message in here. So the person who will be using this planner year-round, they will think of you when they open this up. So I think the planner looks beautiful. And now we will make something a little bit different with this, because yes, you could glue the planner in here, maybe with little closure. We could do that. But I'm thinking to do something a little bit different. So we will be working on the inside of this cover, and I need to, or I want to put a little bit more color to it. So I chose to use this paper, which we will cut to 4 3/4 by 8.5. And now we will score three sides only. We will score at 1/2 inch and 3/4, 1/2 inch and 3/4, 1/2 inch and 3/4. So now let's fold all the scores. And what we are trying to do, I'm trying to create little holder for this weekly planner. So now in the corners, maybe on this side you can see better. I don't know which side is more visible for you, so I will just mark it with the pencil. Here is one score, here is another one, and the same here. There are 2 scores. So we're gonna cut this whole thing out on both sides. So I will just use scissors straight down and cut this out, and the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, so now from the bottom to the first score, we're gonna create that little V, just like that. And we will do the same thing over here on the top. Little V and little V. So the bottom portion we are leaving alone. So now what we are trying to create is that little box, just like that. Now what I will also do is I will fold over these scores, and now this measures 7 inches. So I am gonna make a little mark at 3.5, and I am gonna use one of those I guess punches. So I will try to make this punch on the middle, just like that. I don't know if you can see it, but the mark is on the middle, and I'm trying to create this because when we insert this on the inside, I want to be able to easily remove this. That's the reason why I created this. So now we will start gluing this, just like that, making that little pocket. So position it however you would like this to look, and I want this little bit of the blue border all around, so I'm positioning this just like that. So when I got that, what I'm gonna do, I am just gonna measure, which is approximately 1 1/8 of an inch from the beginning of the paper to this. If you want, you can make just a little mark right underneath. And now we're gonna glue this. So when I position this box, I'm trying to position on the middle, and I will try to hide my marks. Okay, so we will position it just like that, and we will apply the glue only to this 1/2 inch portion. Okay, So readjust if you need to before we glue it. And now I just fold it over like this. And now I'm checking if I'm happy with the distance, and I am. So I pushed it a little bit further because I want to hide those marks. Okay, and this is part of our box. So now we will glue this 1/2 inch and that 1/2 inch just like that underneath to create that box. Just like this. So now let's apply the glue in here and on the opposite side. And now we position this and we will squish it from the inside just like that. So also make sure that your box is square. So if you need to, you can push it with your ruler and readjust this part. And you see we have little holder for our calendar, for our weekly planner. So it's easily accessible. You can just remove it just like that, pull it, put it back in. And now this I am not decorating at this point, but you can see how nice this looks. So if you don't want to use it, you have it tucked in. If you want to use it, you just take it out, make your little notes, whatever you want to do, and put it right back. So now we can work on our notepad. And for the notepad, I will also use the same paper as I used in here, just to make sure everything is matching. To trim this, we will measure, which it's 5 inches. So we will cut this paper to 5 inches and maybe 1/8. You want just a little bit bigger, just to make sure that we cover everything. And the leftover piece I will keep. And we don't need this to be that long. So if this measures 8 inches, I will cut it down to 10. And we will cover the front. Now, the front, I am not going to glue to anything. What I'm doing is aligning the whole front, and I will just make that mark right here and on the back, because this is how we're going to glue this. So now I will fold it over, and I'm making sure that I fold over straight. And then the second little score that we made, we fold it over just like that. Before we glue it, let's try it. And I think it fits perfect. So now we can glue it. We're gonna glue the top and the back, just like that. I'm gonna stand this up to make sure everything is nice and even. And let's squish this. Okay. We have our notepad, which now I think it's gonna look beautiful right here. and we will make this one removable. That's why I kept this piece. So now let's turn it over, put this piece right underneath like this, fold it over, and now pull it just a tiny bit, because you want to make sure that whoever is trying to change this, that it's going to be easy task. Okay, and now we fold this over. Now I'm going to mark the end of this paper kind of with my finger right here, and I will apply the glue just so those two parts are creating that bend, just like that. And now we can glue the bend. So I will apply the glue right here. I'm not going too close to the edges because I don't want to glue that notepad into the band itself. So now I will position this right on the middle, just like that. And let's squish it from inside. And here is our notepad. Now I do want to decorate the front because this is way too plain, and I want to do something possibly with those sides. I don't know yet, but let's decorate this. And this is the cut apart that I used previously, and it has, I really like this, and I really like this one. I think both of them would look beautiful, but I think I'm going to choose this one. It's kind of a little bit toned down. We got beautiful blue, so I think this one will go very nicely. So let me just trim this. And I could put something on the back with a little border, but I think we have plenty going on this page, so I don't really want to do anything else. I will just glue that. Okay. So now I also mentioned to you that I have these that I wanted to use, and I think this is the perfect place to put them. And you could use two different ones, you could use the same one. I kind of like this pink, so it's picking up this pink color and a little bit of that, almost like a yellow. So I'm gonna put those two in here, and now I am just gonna glue them. I think this is such a beautiful presentation. This looks like it has been purchased in a store. I think it's gorgeous. I don't think you can find anything like that, quite frankly, in a store. So the only other thing we are missing right now is finish decorating the front, and we need something for the pencil. So I do have some of this blue left. So I will just pre-cut this, actually on my scoring board. So I will cut this down to 1.75 inches. You can make it 1.5 inches, 2 inches, it depends on you. And we will score. we will score this every half an inch. So half an inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and the 2.5 mark, I will just cut this off. Now, in my previous videos, some of you mentioned that we could be using some foam grips or some other things to create those pencil holders, and I think that's absolutely awesome idea. I think it's great, but you know, when I'm creating these, I really go for the look and the presentation, and I'm not convinced that after you put so much of work into creating these notepad covers, I think this just looks really much better than a foam or something different. I absolutely love the foam idea or pencil grips. I love that idea, especially when you are using pencil and you got nothing to really grab onto and you want to kind of snap something right in place. I think that's absolutely awesome. So thank you for all the suggestions that you guys are giving me. There are so many good ideas out there, and I really do appreciate. So anyway, right now, let's position this nice and straight. Okay, just like that. I do have my pencil, and I think it looks just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, and the magnets are holding. That's awesome. So now we need to decorate this front. To decorate this front, I also thought of using sheet of the borders that came with this paper. So in a border sheet, those are our options. And I really love all of them, but I am not quite sure which one would work perfectly with the design that I have. So there are a few things we can do, and I think I will use just this border. I want to make it something a little bit more simple because I want the eye to be catching actually this part. So I will cut this, and actually I'm looking at this blue which kind of matches a lot of things. This is 3/4 of an inch, so I'm gonna cut only 1/4 of an inch of this blue, and I will cut another 1/4 inch. I want to almost make it border out of this, so this came out a little bit less than 1/4. That's okay, and I will cut whatever I got left right here, and I think that's what I will use, those two pieces. And now I do want to use that pink with the gold. Pink and the gold. So now I need to trim this just a little bit because I can see some of that white peeking out. Okay, so I will use that. And now I need 8 1/4, 8 1/4, but I will cut all 3 pieces at the same time, just so they all match. So 8 1/4. I'm gonna make my cut right here. And now, to decorate the front, I wanna place this one on the middle, just like that. And now those 2 strips I will place on each side. So just a little thin strip of glue, and I will place it right here against that pink. And as you can see, I'm almost creating my own design for this portion. So just a tiny strip of glue, and now we position this right here on this side. I think it's a simple look, very elegant. I think it came out beautiful. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy watching me making this. If you like that, please hit like button, share, comment, and subscribe. All of this really helps my channel grow. And I think this is just such a beautiful piece, such a beautiful gift for anyone on your list.